So how are we feeling today, Code? Doc, I've been scrolling through too much again. Aliens, demons, data leaks, lizard politicians. I think my brain got malware from TikTok transitions.
Yeah, I'm stressed, doc. World's a mess, doc. Everybody woke, but still need rest, doc. I've been trying to meditate, but my phone vibrate. Now I'm manifesting memes at a higher rate. They say stay grounded, I'm trying to, I swear. But the floor is lava and the sky's fake air. My therapist doodling while I overshare. Ain't taking notes, just drawing poop emojis there. So tell me what's wrong, what's real, what's fake. The feet don't sleep and neither do I awake. Welcome to the session, pull up and relate. It's trauma dump time, no escape.
You are now tuned into Trauma Dumping with Code, where therapy meets the algorithm. And everybody's got issues.
So, I am going to do a new segment / show. It's pretty much going to just be by myself or with a guest. I am Code, Conspiracy of a Dead Man from the SpeakInCOAD podcast, and this show is pretty much going to be called either Trauma Dumping or Trauma Dump with Code. So it's pretty much me just breaking stuff down, things that come to my mind, things that I've been thinking about that I wanted to put to the show just to get some more extra content and stuff out. Nothing crazy, nothing too out there, I guess, in a sense. The reason why is just sometimes things come to my mind and I don't want to wait for people. I don't want to wait for the co-hosts or the hosts of the show too. I want to just kind of get some of my ideas out there. And if any of you guys want to collab with me on this, you guys are more than welcome. I'll have some of the co-hosts, like I'll have Teddy Dynamite, Theodore Dinamite, I'll have Chante, the homie, and I'll have Swank, aka Serving with a Noble Cause, just as my guests so much on this show. This one will be mine specifically. I will be hosting just friends randomly or people that I know, personal people that I know that can easily just drive over my house and we can come over and hang out and just kind of shoot the dump, shoot the shit, shoot the crap, Ola, everything and anything with a poop emoji and in between that you can think about. This won't be about poop. This won't be about crap. This won't be about any shit like that. It will just be me just talking and hanging out and listening to you guys and seeing what you guys think of the show. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, comment. If there's anything that you guys like about the show, let me know. If there's things you don't like about the show, let me know. I will try to respond to anything and everything comment wise, unless you get a little too crazy. And crazy, I mean messed up in the head, trying to cause me to get on edge and get very angry for no reason. This show pretty much is just going to be me giving you some of my own personal ideas that I have on certain topics. It could be me just listening to people vent about different ideas that they have that they want to run with. And we're just going to put it to a different format and see how it looks and see how it comes out and see how it goes. If I have a guest on, more than likely it will be a lot of listening on my part, and I will just let the guest kind of vent and come up with their ideas or any thoughts that they have. I'm going to let them kind of run with it and we'll go from there. If it's myself, it's more or less just an idea that I have that I want to put out there to the podcasting realm and see what you guys think, or see if there's any possibilities where I could get some feedback from some friends. And there's going to be topics where I talk about certain things that people aren't going to like, or people may like, and I might be able to have them back on. I might be able to have somebody on as a guest just to reiterate what we were talking about on the last episodes. I might talk about something here specifically today where this might easily lead into another conversation for another time with a guest where they might have their own personal opinions on it, and I'll get their feedback, and that might be its own episode. Um, it might be segments, there might be just specific topics, there might be specific series for this show. Um, I'm not sure yet. Also, I'm not trying to show anything off. Like shirt wise, I usually wear my conspiracy shirts. I usually have a hat on, or I put a conspiracy hat on and stuff too, but I didn't. I had a tattoo removal. I'm getting tattoo removal done. So this is pretty gross. Just to give you a heads up, this is why I have my shirt off. All those little dots are every single time the laser went over my entire shoulder piece that I had. I didn't like how my original tattoo came out. I don't know if you could see it. There were words going across. It said strong, tough, and worthy. And I was 18. The guy pretty much gave me a horrible tattoo. My skin couldn't hold the ink very well. So he kept just going over and over again and turned my skin into ground beef. When I got the touch up, I got free touch ups. When I went in for a free touch up, instead of it being black and faded into my skin, he just colored it half black. The or the G in tough looked like a C. So I got teased by my cousins that I was strong, touch, and worthy. Those were the words: strong, tough, and worthy. And then he messed it up. So then it started turning black. Like he just colored it all in black after he colored it half. I got pretty frustrated with the whole situation, and it started looking like crap. So I went to get a cover up, went more with like a Polynesian style tribal, but it was really tribal on top of tribal. And I am not tribal at all, as you can probably tell. And it was my entire like shoulder from like mid bicep all the way up until like my collarbone into my armpit, back of my armpit. And it started fading pretty bad, and I didn't like it anymore. My old tattoo started showing through the new one, and I did 7 layers of black just to cover up the words because that's how the lady did it. I wasn't too much of a fan of how it came out, and it kind of was crooked when she put it on, and I didn't realize until after sitting there for 4 hours and getting a final look. So I had to go back in for coloring, and that took another 7 hours total, and then I did 7 layers of black on top of that with touch-ups. So long story short, I am in the process of getting tattoo removal. It's almost done. I mean, this is session number 12. It takes me about 45 minutes to an hour, like every few months to get it done. I've been working on getting it removed since 2021. So that's been a fun process. It's extremely painful. So if you have children that do want a tattoo and you don't want them to, have them come talk to me. Have them drop a comment. It's easier to change designs and put different designs on a t-shirt and wear a t-shirt and change t-shirts than getting extra tattoos to cover them up and then getting them removed. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But long story short, this is kind of where I wanted to go with the podcast. I'll probably try to do like maybe like 30 minutes, nothing too crazy. But I had a couple ideas. And now a quick word from our sponsors. Hey guys, are you looking for an alcohol alternative? Go to drinkbreeze.com, promo code thank you for 10% off. It's more of like a mood setter. Kind of puts you in the mood of feeling calm. You also have that mental clarity and you have that focus on like alcohol if you're getting hammered. You could drink a few of these and you'll get more of a relaxed state. You'll keep getting that memory. You'll keep getting that mental clarity, and you'll keep getting that focus. You're not going to have that hangover the next morning, and you're not going to be groggy or feeling like you forgot stuff. Check out drinkbreeze.com and check out some of the flavors that they have. Check out some of the different types that they have. My favorite is the original. It's the Flow. It's lemon elderberry, which their other ones also have lemon elderberry as well. But they have new flavors like watermelon lime, strawberry mango, cherry chamomile, and they have a blueberry lotus. Some of them have THC, and some of them also have CBD with them as well. So make sure you guys pay attention to that, and you aren't getting any that you don't want to have. So just make sure you guys get the ones that you're looking into. Our products are not for use by or sale to persons under the age of 21. All products contain less than 0.3% THC per the Controlled Substances Act. Consult your physician before use if you are pregnant, nursing, have allergies, or are taking any medication. Breeze is a non-alcoholic beverage. However, we use craft extracted flavors from Italian lemons and elderflower, which means there is a trace amount of ethanol in Breeze, less than a bottle of commercial kombucha, which is 0.5% ABV. These products have not been evaluated by the FDA for safety or efficacy. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And now back to the show. Something kind of hit me. So one day I was listening to, I cannot remember his name. He's a country singer that's been on like Fox News, I think. I don't know him from Fox News. I just know that he's been on random conservative podcasts, and he was talking about just the way that things were going politically. He was on with the Sean Ryan show. That's kind of how I was introduced to him. He was talking about, and now this is pretty much the deep dive. This is kind of where I'm going with it. He was talking about the days of Noah, and he was making it seem as if like the way that the days of Noah were different than what we're expecting. We were expecting it like, or we were thinking that the days of Noah were all these Nephilim giants, all these people that just were horrible people and all this stuff. And he was explaining it as if the days of Noah weren't as crazy as we're expecting. We're expecting all these things. Like when they say like the end times and all that stuff is going to happen. They say, people will say that it will be as if the times of Noah were going on. So people kind of get like worried, like, oh, well, does that mean the Nephilim are coming back or the giants? Does that mean that everybody's going to be killing people? Is that, or unaliving, whatever you want to say? All these different ideas. And he was mentioning it as if that wasn't the case at all. He was mentioning it as if it was going to be like it is today. Like the days of Noah were like today. Maybe less giants, as I would assume. But here's kind of where I'm getting at. I want to tie in the days of Noah and how our DNA was being corrupted versus today and how our DNA is already being corrupted. I think the idea of this episode is going to be the beginning and the end, and everywhere in between. But I think the route that I'm going to go is explaining the reasoning for why our DNA was corrupted to begin with. I personally believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Bible, Old Testament and New Testament. I am slowly learning more about this. And I grew up in church, but that has no validity over anything. I mean, you could grow up on the streets. You could grow up anywhere. It doesn't matter how you grew up, but it's what you do to either change that or learn from it. And I definitely don't feel like I learned much from the Bible as a kid. I was more or less, I was talking with think his name's Alex from the Testimony podcast. And we were both talking about how I used to feel like I was a Christian, and I am a Christian, but I was a Christian that never read the Bible. I was a Christian that never really seeked any answers that way. So for me to say that I was a Christian then compared to now, I definitely feel like my faith is stronger, my beliefs are stronger, and I am just pretty much just um I feel like I'm constantly learning about what it means to have faith and to have beliefs more so now than ever before in my life. Um so when it comes to the beginning, when Adam was created, God created Adam in the image of God. Um, he created him perfectly. And I think that there is no way that we evolved as humans. I don't think that we evolved as a society. I feel like we have been devolving ever since. I personally believe that Adam was the closest that we have to perfection. And when he was introduced to sin, that was a way for Satan or the devil or Lucifer or whatever you want to call him. Um, that was a way for him to start to corrupt God's creation, which was man or human or Adam. Adam was first man. I think that's what that stands for. You can fact check me on any of this stuff. Um, so, anyways, I think that when Adam first sinned, it was the beginning of corrupting our human bloodlines. Now, I might be speaking out of turn. I know that Doc Brown from the Prometheus Lens podcast talks a lot about this stuff. I hope I'm not stepping on his toes at all. These are just some things that kind of came to me, and I hope I'm not taking anything from his. I definitely want to. I definitely want to have him on one day and talk to him a lot about this stuff. But I definitely have a lot more questions on this too. But this is just kind of where I'm at right now with the idea that the angels were cast down from heaven, which were the fallen angels. They came down and they started sleeping with the daughters of man and as well as beasts. And I think that they started corrupting God's perfect plan, well, God's perfection, which was creating Adam and having him um, have more children and people on earth. They were going to be like they're going to have the perfect bloodline because it was the closest that of God's creation that it has. Now I think what happened was when the daughters or when the fallen angels and came down and started sleeping with the daughters of man or humans and intermingling and interbreeding with them as well as beasts. I feel like that's where some mythologies could happen, where you look at the Greek mythology or different pantheons and stuff like that, and Norse mythology, you have these mixed breeds of human and beast, or these giants, or these half breed gods. When it comes to like Hercules, which was half Zeus and half human, or something like that, and those could easily have been things that those could have easily have been ways for them to corrupt and lie to the humans on earth and saying that they were part god where they were part angel or they were part something else, so with the times of Noah, it was and I've heard this in a video. I wish I would have had everything kind of more prepped and ready to go and pulled up. I could even do a deeper dive on this on my show with Teddy Dynamite and Chente and Swank and stuff too. Or I mean, I could have Mythos on from the Midwest Mythos podcast, or Alex from the Testimony podcast, or even Troubles. So just or anybody in general, anybody that wants to talk about this stuff. But long story short, I think that during the times of Noah, God was realizing, oh, not that he didn't know already. I feel like he's all knowing. Um, but what happened was there were corrupted, there was corrupt bloodlines from what the angels did, and the fallen angels did. And I think that was a way for the devil to corrupt God's plan. And by doing so and intermingling and having all of these different mixed bloodlines from the fallen angels and these fake gods and all these other different entities intermingling and mixed breeding with humans, it was slowly causing, well, not slowly, but it was probably causing the population of the earth to get populated by these weird beings of some sort. And when you do that, I feel like that's why God came to Noah, and he gave Noah the the plans for creating the ark, and he was going to flood the earth because he needed to wipe out all of those beings that were corrupting our DNA. And when he did that, it wiped the DNA completely, and the humans were able to stay around. Now I do have some questions about like David and Goliath. Was Goliath part Nephilim, or was he just another being? Were there giants that were still within people's lineage? You know, I mean, that's where I kind of get a little confused. Where if all of the giants were wiped out, or all the Nephilim, if the giants were a part of the Nephilim, if the giants were a part of that corrupt bloodline, how could they have been later as well? I mean, were they hanging on the ark for 40 days until after the fact? I don't know. Those are things that I'll have to look into a little bit more. But I was listening to my buddy actually suggested an episode of Joe Rogan's podcast. It was with this guy named Greg Braden, and or Braden. He was talking about how there was transhumanism and how they are trying to get, like, let's say the Neuralink or any type of things where they're going to try to add um, like technology to the human body to either help it survive, to help it to not feel pain, to help it to learn faster. I mean, the list goes on. You could put technology and human and whatever after that as your solution, and it might look good on paper. It might sound good hearing it. It might look cool watching it. But I feel like there's something very strange that could potentially be the times of Noah, where they're trying to corrupt our DNA again. And what originally, I think what happened though was, if there was so much corrupt DNA during the time of Noah and it kept progressing and kept going and kept going, they wouldn't have been able to have pure DNA from Adam to Jesus. And that's my understanding of it. And that's why Noah's Ark Noah had to happen. That whole story had to happen. You know, it was like a time of an era where, or a time where they was said that it never rained for like 400 years prior to that, or it just never rained before. and it used to just have like mist, and like there would be like mist or fog that would come down that would be low enough where people could survive, and they had streams that were coming through. I don't know. This It's just been some things that I've heard. I don't know how true that is. It's a cool idea, and it's cool if it's. I mean, I hope it's real, but my understanding is that Noah's Ark and that story had to happen because of all the bloodlines that were corrupted, and for Jesus to come back and die, or not come back, but um, be born and die for our sins and all that stuff. If he never wiped out all of the corrupted bloodlines, then the bloodlines would have kept corrupting more and more so, and there wouldn't have been a pure bloodline for when Jesus was born. So he wouldn't have been born to Mary, who was further up the line um, from Adam. There wouldn't have been a tie back to him directly, and I think that's why um, I think that's why that had to happen. So my other idea was, I feel like we came f- we they're talking about making us transhumans and stuff, and trying to make it so that way we can have a corrupted bloodline again. I feel like I've talked about this before with Theodore Dynamite. I feel like I did, like, originally when we first started doing video, um, like a transhumanism podcast or something once. I'll have to look back into it. But I believe that we devolved. Um, and we're getting to the point again where we are utilizing and using technology at all times, just to be able to do normal things. It's like you could look at a phone and you could say, like, for example, when I first had like a Nokia phone or something, or my friends had a brick phone when we were in high school. Like, you would have to type each number like 3 or 4 times just to spell out a word. There was no alphabet like that you could just type and spell whatever. And like I was talking with somebody yesterday about it, and I'm like, I honestly couldn't use a brick phone today. And that's how I started texting. That's how you first learned how to text. I couldn't figure out how to do that today if I tried. Like, it would take me so long to send a normal text to somebody. And then it got me thinking, like, and now a quick word from our sponsors. Hey guys, you got to go check out carnivoresnacks.com. Use promo code carnivoresnacks.com/speakingcode for 15% off your first order. Man, this stuff is great. If you are looking for a beef jerky alternate, something with less ingredients than freaking 30, you got to check out Carnivore Snacks. They have 2 ingredients. It's usually beef and salt. Their best sellers are ribeye and brisket. My personal favorite is the brisket and the New York strip, but you could get ribeye, you can get brisket, you could get skirt steak, which I intend on trying next, New York strip, ribeye sliders, bison sliders, ancestral bison sliders, wagyu brisket, wagyu bottom round, lamb shoulder, carnivore snacks. You can get a carnivore snacks gift card, pork loin, bison brisket, beef sliders, and lamb sliders. And if you do like a big order, sometimes they'll even ask you if you want to add an additional thing. The last one I got was fat tips or something like that. It was like the ribeye, but it was like chopped up into smaller pieces, but they were almost clumps. Great flavor. I love this product so much. I reached out to them to see if they can actually hook us up with a promo code for our listeners, and they did. So when you go to carnivoresnacks.com, it's carnivore and then snacks is SNAX.com, and use promo code SpeakInCOAD, SpeakInCOAD. Tell them the conspiracy of a dead man sent you, and the Speak and Code podcast crew sent you. It's different than beef jerky. Beef jerky is sometimes tough to bite, tough to chew. Your jaw muscles are going to get too tired from chewing some jerkies. This one, it pretty much can crumble in your mouth depending on which brand you get, or which style you get. I love the flavor. The fat caps on some of the meat are so good that I wish they actually made this into a chapstick flavor. Afterwards, my lips are so are so moist and juicy and shiny. I don't even need chapstick after eating one of these things, and I feel like it's made my skin look better. My hair's growing back a little thicker, so definitely check this brand out. I know you guys will love it. Also, go to carnivoresnacks.com and use promo code SpeakInCOAD. And now back to the show. All right. Well, what about sending a text to somebody now? Like, you could pretty much use all emojis just to text somebody, and they would easily understand it. It almost doesn't even matter what language you're in. If you could speak through through emojis, I feel like that's a way that people are communicating now. And there's so many different things where even today, like my slang from when I was a kid, I mean, even now, like the slang that I know, I could still have conversations with my grandma. But like hearing kids today talk about stuff like their slang, I'm so far removed from that, like 2 generations from me. Like I'm a millennial, but I'm way before whatever the next one was, Gen Z, and then Gen Alpha. Like those kids know how to like they know how to talk a different language almost with the slang that they have, to the point where not only would it be such a huge gap of a language barrier between like if I had kids to like my parents, it would be even like if I had kids now and myself. So that's where it's all really strange to me how they're easily able to manipulate things and corrupt things. And that's where I feel like if you look at it as the devil is corrupting music and symbolism and music and all that stuff. It's like music today. If I were to listen to DMX, or if I was listening to something like Eminem or anybody back when I was a kid, if my parents listened to it, they could hear the subliminal messaging. They could hear, I mean, the cussing and stuff they just wouldn't like at all, period. But they could also understand what was going on. More or less like when I was a kid, especially like 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, whatever, I wasn't listening to like the words more so than like the beat. Like I would always have friends that would be like, "Oh, I'm just listening to the beat." And that's usually what it was. I didn't know what it was saying. It was sometimes too fast for me to understand. And then there were some songs that I could recite verbatim, almost as if I was put in a trance and I know exactly what I'm saying because of how much I used to listen to those songs back in the day. Um, but what I'm getting at is I feel like today the languages are getting scrambled up enough now, almost like the Tower of Babel. They're getting scrambled up enough now to the point where if there was subliminal messaging in music, I personally couldn't listen to the music and understand what was even being said. So if something was being said in the music, like worshiping something or, you know, curses, you or spells or whatever in the music, I wouldn't be able to comprehend what's even being said. So that's where it is for me where I'm trying to figure some stuff out because it's like the Tower of Babel, and I'm gonna jump kind of back and forth, but I feel like the Tower of Babel, I feel like humans devolved to where we are today. I feel like they were so evolved back then. They were the closest to purity back then. I almost wonder if back then they could communicate not with different languages or one language. I think that they could communicate telepathically. And with that being said, I think when the Tower of Babel happened, where God scrambled up everybody's languages, I wonder if it was just a piece of the brain that got calcified. What if that was the thing that made it so they could no longer communicate telepathically anymore? Or I mean, who knows? Maybe they had telekinesis where they were able to move things with like with their minds and stuff too. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe he capped everybody off, or maybe there was, once they started making the pyramids and they started getting so many things, because who knows if the Tower of Babel and the pyramids and all that stuff, like what if things were happening simultaneously? And then what if there was a frequency that happened? What if there was something with the pyramids that they had something at the top? Maybe those were used for radio waves. And what if those were like something that deterred deterred get it? Because it's trauma dumping. It's a poop thing. Anyway, what if it messed with what was going on in their heads at the time? What if they were able to utilize certain things of their brain and use parts of their brain that we don't even have today? Maybe we've devolved from that. Maybe that's gotten so calcified. Um, that's what it's from. Um, the other thing too is we don't know what kind of technology that they had back then. Maybe they did have technology. Maybe they did have stuff like phones, and maybe the hieroglyphics and pyramids were the only ways that they were able to communicate where they could understand. What if they were communicating with emojis? What if all the hieroglyphics were actually just emojis and we can't comprehend what that even was because we don't even have the same type of technology that they had back then either, um, or even needed, So um, that's it's kind of where I'm at with that. I feel like today's day and age, we're getting so dumbed down where our languages are all merging together because we're able to use our phones all the time and using an emoji, or even using emojis to be able to communicate. Um, and I think with the transhumanism thing, I think that at the beginning, there was sin, the fallen angels, they started corrupting our bloodlines. And then they were wiped out. So that way the bloodline could have been pure. And now it's becoming the days of Noah, where they're eventually going to start using transhumanism stuff, Neuralink, anything like that. And it's going to start corrupting our bloodlines. It's going to start corrupting our DNA. And I think that's kind of where we're at. I'm not saying we're at the end times or anything like that, but it feels weird to me. And I think it feels weird to a lot of other people. Um, when it comes to the unknown and not sure what's going on with what's going on in the world. Um, I didn't want to talk about politics on here. I can. Um, but there's certain things that I don't think I want to talk about on here because I don't want this to be a place of division. I want this to be a place in a show where it can unify people with their different ideas and we can all communicate like adults and we can have a fun time and we can throw different ideas out there, whether they're conspiracies, whether they're spiritual, whether they're religious, if they're different religious views. I don't care. Um, I want this to be a place where it could be filled with positivity, and just good. I don't want people to leave listening to my show or listening to a podcast of mine or being a guest of mine. And I don't want people to leave pissed off or mad or frustrated, feel like they're not able to say what they needed to have said. Um, and I think that's pretty much it. Um, we're at 35 minutes. I think that's a good one. But I just want to say that whoever's listening out there, if you feel like you don't have a voice or you don't know what to say, sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes when you're having those conversations, you're like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. Um, just pray, man. Ask. Like, seriously, if there's anything that you feel that you need in life to be better, pray for it. I'm not saying like pray for the lottery. I'm not saying pray for a nice car or a nice house or anything like that. I'm saying like pray for discernment. That's when you know that it's actually where it's coming from. Pray to know where it's coming from. Pray for communication skills. Pray for better reading skills. Pray for uh, being able to discern whether it's right or wrong or where it's coming from. If you can hear that voice, um, pray to be more humble. Pray to pray for positivity to come into your life and other people's lives. Um, pray for your family, pray for your friends, pray for your friends' friends, your family's friends, your family's family, your friends' family. You know, anything that you can do positively, just just do it. It's like a Nike. Oh crap! I'm wearing Under Armour, but yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I think there's a lot of things that we have going on in our lives right now. There's a lot of things on the news. There's a lot of things on TV. There's a lot of things on these podcast channels, these networks, all this stuff, man. There's going to be things where you're going to watch it and you're going to be like, "What did I just watch? Was this real? Was this fake?" Seeing death on TV or death on streaming channels or social media. Um, it's not something we should be seeing or need to see, especially all at the same time. It's almost like blunt force trauma to the eyes. Um, I just want to say stay safe, stay blessed, keep the positivity coming my way, keep the positivity coming your way. I pray that you guys are just, I don't know. Sometimes I just pray to pray. Pray for being able to pray. I'll say that, you know. Um, I don't want to keep going too long, but thank you guys so much for listening. This is your first episode. This is my first episode of Trauma Dump or Trauma Dumping with Code. I'm not sure which way I want it to go or how I want it to sound. Um, but if you want to be a guest, if you want to trauma dump with me, let me know. Drop a like down below, comment down below, subscribe down below, ring the bell if you want. If you want to be a guest, if you want to just BS and talk with me on the show, you're more than welcome to. Just hit me up in the DMs. Go to our Instagram channel. That's usually where the best way to find me. It's Speak in Code, SpeakIncC. Or I'm sorry, it's not speaking. Speak in Code, SpeakIn, and then COAD, all one word. It's right there in the right there. I think, yeah. Click that link. You'll find me everywhere. Just click that link. Don't click it. Search for it with that. That's how you spell it. So if you guys need anything, if you ever want to jump on the show, reach out, say what's up, give me a like, comment, subscribe, tell everybody where to find us. If you like this type of content, I'll keep it going. If you don't, I'll keep it going. So I just want to say stay safe, stay blessed, and keep on questioning because we out. And pray to God, keep you guys safe, keep me safe, and keep my family safe, and keep your family safe. So hope all positive things come your guys' way. And I think that's it for the show. Deuce.
Yeah.